This is the NA Happy Hour.
Very good, thanks. Very good. Thanks for
We
joining us.
are a little handicapped today. Chris is, food poisoning.
Oh
New
no!
Year's Eve.
Oh, how terrible.
Lobster does that to you sometimes.
I've been there with scallops. Yeah, it took me a while to eat scallops again.
Really?
Yeah. How's my audio? Do you prefer headphones?
Honestly, we are like, whatever you prefer. You sound amazing, so
Good.
this is fine.
Okay. Move my chair. How about the view? Ian, nice to meet you.
Likewise, Sarah. Likewise, thank you.
Okay, we're framed. Hair, okay.
Beautiful.
I had 2 cups of coffee, 2 cups of water this morning, Tyler.
2 cups. That's a huge day. That's when you know you're having a huge day.
I told myself this morning, I actually did an Instagram story. I was like, I'm going to be honest. I'm just having the water so I can have my coffee now.
Absolutely. And wait, what coffee do you like? Like, I know you said you like black coffee, but like what type of coffee? Do you have a specific brand?
Oh, I have some friends I have one friend.
Just one. You just have one friend.
Just one friend. He calls me once in a while. Put the actress away. A friend of mine who I met on social media, actually. This is the beauty of social, because this is how we've connected as well, Tyler. And he's in Hawaii, and he sent me this Kona coffee it's from Maui, but it's a Kona coffee that has a natural blend, so it's nothing like fake additives to it, but with vanilla macadamia nut. Blew my mind, like just so amazing. I also like a light roast of a Costa Rica or Colombia. My friend just brought me back some Costa Rican coffee, so I'm a big fan of both of those as well. But yeah, I think when it comes to like the regions, I kind of tend to go with those 2 regions. They're a lighter roast typically, which, it's a fun fact, it has more caffeine than a darker roast, which I never thought.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that, but I guess it makes sense, because is it cooked differently, or is it like, burns off?
It's the way it's roasted. Yeah.
The way it's roasted, right? Okay.
Because it's more natural. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, hey, yeah.
It's just full, by the way. It's just when I heated it up and you're like, oh my gosh. And it's non-alcoholic.
Love it. Love it. So yeah.
There's no Baileys.
Yeah, it's Irish coffee.
So how about I just quickly introduce the podcast, and let's get into non-alcoholic beverages maybe. We'll just get in it that way, and then we'll go from
You lead and I'm here. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, okay, everyone. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the NA Happy Hour podcast with your hosts, Tyler and Ian this week. Chris is out of Dodge. He got a little food poisoning on New Year's Eve. So today we are talking with the lovely and awe-inspiring Sara Quiriconi, aka Live Free Warrior. Sarah is an actress, model, TV host, and content creator. She brings a lot of value bombs on empowerment, well-being, and travel and lifestyle. So welcome, Sarah. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's a joy to be here. And I know we have a lot in store, so I'll let you jump right into what it is that you want to share. And
beautiful.
keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's just keep this convo going with the whole non-alcoholic beverages. We were just talking about coffee. So have you ever tried any non-alcoholic beers and wines or spirits ever?
I'm trying to think back, and I honestly don't think so. So, kind of a funny thing, not funny, but my history with alcohol. It's not funny. It was funny at the time, but I was an alcoholic for quite a few years. And I remember saying like, oh, non-alcoholic, that's like, who drinks that? No way. But it's like a lot of people, of course, in the mindset, it's like, that's a waste, I think is what I used to say. But when you're in the mindset to drink to get drunk, you're going to think that, because anything that doesn't get you the outcome, is like, oh, that's just water. Like, why waste, But I think there are so many people who love the taste and who absolutely love a glass of wine, but necessarily, and I think I'm in that stage now where it's, if there's something that I really like, I don't necessarily want to wake up with the fog of not being able to function the next day. So it's more based on flavor. So I can't personally say that I have, but my mindset on that has completely changed. It's like I said with coffee. I actually wanted a coffee yesterday. It was 6 p.m. And I'm like, Sarah, there's no way you're drinking a coffee now. It won't affect me, but I was like, not a good idea if you want to sleep tonight. So I'm like, I don't even have decaf coffee, but the thought goes into my mind now that maybe I would have a decaf if I just want the flavor. So to what you're saying, my mindset changed completely on that.
Absolutely. So what I'm kind of getting is like the mindfulness of just drinking in general, whether it's coffee, alcohol. So kind of getting into that, what is your stance on drinking alcohol currently?
You know, it's not for a lot of recovered alcoholics or recovered or whatever type. I'm not good with labels. So whatever you want to call it, I don't have a shared mindset as many people, and it can be black or white, all or nothing. I share the opposite, and I say go gray. When you learn the deeper emotions and reasons why you were using a substance, and that includes food, coffee, cigarettes, shopping, sex, booze, drugs, it's all the same. They're all different addictive habits, love, whatever it might be. That's all the same thing. When you go deeper and you say, why was I doing this? And I encourage a lot of people to do that with what I share when I'm speaking. And it's go deeper to the why. And then you no longer need to mask that with something. So when you do black or white, for me, that reminded me a lot of my history with an eating disorder, anorexia. And it was all or nothing. And there was nothing in between. So to say, do not drink anything, and I'm recovered, it's like, are you though? Are you really? Or are you masking it with a Band-Aid? And that is a personal choice for anybody to make. If that's your choice and you are happy with that, then I applaud you if you're making healthier choices for yourself. For me, if I want to have a glass of Grey Goose, it's right there in my freezer, and I'm going to have a glass of Grey Goose. It doesn't mean that I'm an alcoholic. It doesn't mean that I'm relapsing. It means that this is what I'm choosing in this moment. So exactly what you're saying, Tyler, it's mindfulness and awareness, self-awareness.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting, just like the problem solving of alcoholism or any addiction. Because I feel like people try to problem solve that habit, but in general, you're forever going to have that habit. You have to transfer it into new habits and then try to solve the problem that caused you to do it in the first place. I think it's very counterintuitive with just me seeing people just stop drinking. That doesn't solve the problem. Or if you're obese, just stop eating bad. No, that's like, it's not really the best thing. If you're starting a diet, best thing is probably not to stop eating all the favorite foods, even if they're bad. Just moderation and mindfulness. But me personally, I'm usually an extremist. Like if I eat sweets, for example, I can't eat one sweet. So like, that's my thing. It's just how to be mindful of like, I feel full, let's stop eating. You know what I mean? And I'm getting better at that. Like I just did it yesterday. But I might've ate 2 bowls of ice cream until I felt full. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's that mindfulness, which is I wish people would just treat that more. And especially today, like the pandemic, especially just being mindful of your body. Are you healthy? Maybe let's just be more active, because I've watched a lot of your videos. It's just moving. Let's go out and move, get that vitamin D. Let's not sit inside, etc. Can you maybe give some insight on how you've reacted to the pandemic in your life?
Cool. On different levels, for sure. I'll take it career, personal, and if there's another category you want to throw in there, but maybe interrelational. Yeah, we'll make a word up today. Interrelational. From a career perspective, I see all of this as a blessing, and I will never minimize or devalue the tragedy behind it. However, I do believe that there is a gift in everything if we choose to see it and we choose to empower ourselves with it. I feel that way with cancer as well. That cancer was a gift. I'm a cancer survivor. I see it was a gift for me, And I have the same perspective of what is happening this past year. So, and again, it has nothing to do with, I will never minimize the tragedy behind it. There's a lot of lives lost. But when it comes to on a personal level, it has given me a lot of perspective. So I was traveling and doing things, and my former partner, we were always in this mindset of, we're going for this goal, and this is what we're going for. And it gave me the opportunity to stop, pause, ground, and say, do I really want this? And I think it gave all of us an opportunity to ground, to pause, to breathe a little bit for a moment, and gave the opportunity, whether you took it or not, that's your choice, to redirect. And I see a lot of people chose not to, and a lot of those same people are the ones who are upset. They're, in a different mindset than I am. However, that was a big gift for me, because that was the moment that I said, what do I want to see myself doing in 10, 15 years from now? And I encourage everybody to do that. See, a little visualization, 10, 15 years from now, what do I ultimately want to be doing? And I decided I really want to be directing, empowering films, acting. I love to travel. I will never, I will never say never. I'll never stop loving traveling. In the same way, I never want kids. I would never stop loving traveling. And I will never try mayonnaise ever. Again, I don't like mayonnaise. I will never like mayonnaise. I really found it a great opportunity to say, where do I want to be driving myself towards? So in a career perspective, that's where I take on, my background's in art direction, creative direction. So it's a overlapping shift for me to go into directing for short film to start, of course, got to start somewhere. But I also love the idea of acting. And so I delved deep into taking courses, classes, practicing, getting representation, this upcoming year, we're doing be in a film, feature film, COVID pending, SAG pending, of course. But that gave me a redirect as far as a career. And I am so thankful for it, because otherwise I would have just kept going on a little trail like this, but would it bring me the happiness of what it is that I really want to do? And I think a lot of us get lost on a track like that. And from relationship standpoints, you start to realize who is toxic, who you need to cut out, who are real friends, who you really don't want to waste your time with anymore. And that's also like on your phone too. You have the opportunity to unfollow, mute, delete. I started giving some real honest feedback to people. Some guy even yesterday was like, oh, I mentioned a comment about who goes to the gym and is just talking out loud on their phone in a speaker. I'm like, really? There's a self-awareness level, people, like self-awareness. He's like, well, I do all my work at the gym. And I was like, please don't come to my gym. It's like, you go to fancy gyms. And I was like, yeah, it's the gym that's in my apartment, but I love comments like this and judgment. So it's like, you can unfollow me, you can unfriend me. But I think this, in short, and I'll wrap this very long answer up. In short, this pandemic has taken us like this and let all the truth seep out, because you can't hide in something like this. Those who are toxic, those who are miserable, those who are unhappy, all of their crap starts to just emanate. And you can't hide anymore. That's the thing.
Absolutely. And I think so many beautiful things are coming from the pandemic, because I'm always one who says when conflict occurs, always comes resolution. In order to get any sort of solution, you need a conflict, whether good or bad. And I think this gave everyone a time period to really learn who they are, where they're at. And those who aren't willing to do that are those who are struggling the most. So it's what are you willing to do, which is really what you hit on. But kind of getting into that, so if one's not willing to do that, can anyone help them? You know what I mean? Can anyone push them? I've always heard this saying, right? Is it you can't change one's mind, but you can only influence it, or something of that sort? There's other sayings like that.
Some people say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Bingo, Ian. Bingo. So and Ian hits on a point. Actually, I have a great relationship with the producer of the film I'm going to be in. And him and he has a very similar mindset as well. I'll give a shout out to Drew. And we share and say the same thing. you can lead a horse to water, as Ian said, but you can't make them drink. And we feel that in many ways, and both of you are as well. You're water. You know, you are water. We are water. Drew and I are water. And there's people who will be thirsty, but choose not to drink. There will be people who are thirsty and they're just gonna like hydrate themselves to the max. And there's other people who are so lost that they don't even want to find a lake, that they're off in the desert looking at cacti. So I think that get a visual.
I know, I got the whole visual.
Little lost coyotes over there.
Is cacti the plural of cactus?
It is, yeah.
I'd have always said cactuses.
That works too.
Right.
That works too.
Well, these are different in Ireland.
And Mises are another one that's up for debate. But whatever works for you, Ian, we understand. I made up words before too in this interview. So.
That's my word of the day.
But yeah, you know, you can't. I learned myself when I was struggling with both alcohol and eating disorder, and my parents took me for an eating disorder to clinics, to therapists. And it wasn't until I said to myself, like, I want to do better for me, did I make that change. And I think the same goes for anybody. They will not make that change until they were ready to face themselves in the mirror, until in a clear mirror. Because there are a lot of people who will say, I see myself, I love myself in the mirror, and I am. And it's like, yeah, but I think your mirror is pretty rose, like you're seeing this. So you have to really take the mask off, you know, and see your flaws and learn to accept them and let go of the shame that you're holding on to from any past, you know, I hate the word mistake, but anything that you did that doesn't align with who you want to be, because you can learn from it, you can grow from it, but then you have to let go of the shame. It's like really letting go of that blame and shame is some of the greatest freedom points that you can give yourself. Now it's like, if I screw something up and it's like, okay, next, and you move on. Because the more and the longer that you hold on to it, then that's going to prevent you from being able to move forward. And I think a lot of people, I've witnessed this with somebody recently in his 40s, and he's still doing the same things, the same circle, the same cycle. And I was like, I can't help you, and I don't want to. So it's like they have to help themselves, but they need to see it.
Absolutely. And I think it's something, it's weird because it's like you need to be selfish in life. Like because in the end, it's really just you, right? But like you still, in order to live a fulfilling, good life, you need to have gratitude and appreciate those around you. But in general, you have to do what helps you the most. And is that helping people? What does that consist of? Which then goes with passions that then lead into figuring out your purpose, etc. But I think people really need to focus on how important selfishness is. But selfishness isn't bad, but you need to be able to drink the water, and what is that water, etc. And you need to at least allow yourself to better you, which might consist of others. And I think people don't really realize that and really have that stigma with selfishness.
Agree. You bring up a good point. There's a lot of negativity that comes with that connotation, I think is the word that comes to mind. And to pivot off of what Ian said before too, it's like, it's also another phrase of you have to fill your own cup, you know? So how are you filling your cup with water before you can go and help other people? And, you know, there's quite a few people who will say, I'm a people pleaser. And it's like, are you, or are you just doing it for your own pat on the back and notoriety? That's different than being selfish, because being selfish is taking the time for yourself first and saying, here's what I need to do to present myself to the world in a whole authentic way, you know?
Absolutely. So it's like, are you doing things for you or for others, right? Like, are you working out for like girls or guys? Or are you working out for your own internal beauty that then, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that, I feel like.
It's a narcissistic tendency, which I will need 7 hours to go through an entire conversation on that one. So we'll back park that one and do that. But yeah, that's a lot of narcissistic tendencies when it comes to that.
Absolutely. So can we get into really what 2021 looks like for you, and maybe some value bombs you have for people that are just now, you know, getting into 2021 and hopefully creating change?
I love this question, first of all, and I'm going to start on a high level before I go into talking about me and then application. If we learned anything from 2020, have a plan, but be ready to throw that out the window, please. I have plans this upcoming week next week to fly to Cancun. I still don't have a hotel booked because I have no idea. I just like waiting to see, because there's so many things that are lined up. I'm going there to do some filming and some writing, and Playa del Carmen technically. I want to stay away from people, but I'm a people person, but I'm not people. I can encourage people, have an idea, have a plan, make it be in pencil. Because the more you get ingrained in this is what I'm going to do, and you are creating disappointment already for yourself. You are setting expectations, and expectations aren't bad. It's good to have goals, but you have to learn to be flexible around them. So take that lesson from 2020, bring it to this year. For myself, like I said, I'm planning to start the filming of a movie that I'll be in, which is a lot on resilience, human resilience, and that everything happens with reason. So it resonates deeply with me. For February, March, let's hope. I have a trip promised to go to the Maldives, so I'm hoping that happens with a good friend of mine. I will be rewriting my book. I want to do a version 2 that I'll later develop into a trilogy for a film. I want to continue to act. I just launched a 28-day Live Free Renew online program, and it takes everybody step by step, day by day, with real, applicable things that you can do. So like the detox has nothing to do with the celery juice. It has everything to do with go through your social media feed and unfollow people that do not bring you joy. If there are miserable people that make you feel competitive, mute them. If there's somebody who you're like, I hate this, unfollow them, unfollow. It's okay to block people. They'll get over it. And if they don't, they're not meant for you anyway. That's what the 28 day is a lot of. And it's also, it brings in like how to clean out your kitchen and what to add into your life, creating daily habits. And it's a lot of empowered living. So I'm starting to also do that on the side as well. There's a lot of film projects coming up, a lot in fitness. I'll be doing a lot with, let's see how much I can say. I'll be doing some upcoming fitness with Samsung as well. And also a dear friend of mine. I'll be out west. We're going to be launching some online stuff and hopefully a lot more. If it's not in front of people face to face and speaking, then it'll be here in virtual and camera. That's really one of my greatest joys, is being able to, if you can't tell, I like to talk in front of the camera. Just say. I love to. I want to see people achieve and overcome their limiting beliefs and roadblocks. And I think, if there's not an acting element, that's my second greatest joy. Someone to say like, but I can't. And then you give them a little and they say, you know what? I can. And you gave me a little bit of insight. That will tie into the third part of what you asked, Tyler, is what people can do into this year ahead. And don't make resolutions because you know that you're already going to lose them. Don't make them. I think they're a big waste of time. You are setting yourself up for disappointment. Get very clear in this week your why. Why is it that you want to make a change? Go deep and deeper into that, what your fear is surrounding it. Because when you know what your fear is, you will, one of two things, learn. One, how stupid most of them are. Two, how to work around them. Because then when you're aware of what your fear is, you can start to create a different story in your head. So get very clear on your why as to what it is that you want to change. And then you can start to work around that. And then the rest will follow. Set a plan, set a goal. It's nothing new that everybody else is out there going to be sharing with you for this new year. It's like, transform yourself. And it's like, yeah, you're the same person that you were 3 days ago. You just now need to learn to write January and 21 again. Like that's really it. It's the same thing.
Absolutely. It's not like you're trying to rewrite the wheel. Like you're not just trying to, I feel like people just perceive a new year as in they're going to change themselves, but they're going to forever be them. Like your brain doesn't just change. like that. But you can start to rebuild and build like that foundation, which I think is supported by finding your why. And like you were saying, how don't create resolutions, don't worry about, a schedule. You can plan out stuff, but as long as you have a good base of knowing why you do things and kind of your end goal, like you were saying, you just want to travel. You want to act like you want to do those fun, entertaining things. So no matter what, you're just kind of doing those and whether you're recording, or you're in person, hopefully. And yeah, at least you have that great foundation, which hopefully people build. So how can one figure out that foundation, like their why? And I feel like personally, you kind of have to experience stuff. But like, I feel like there has to be a time period in which you sit down and reflect. So it's like a reflection thing. And how does that go? Like, how does one figure out one's why? 'Cause I feel like it's very difficult. There's no right answer, but like, in your opinion, how could
Google Simon Sinek? No, I'm teasing.
For real, absolutely, yeah.
He does a great YouTube talk on that, and I'm sure, Tyler, I'm sure I think you and I talked on this when we did our initial. It's a really brilliant question that you bring up, and it is a combination of things, as you said. I believe. I mean, I'm sure that there are many different ways to go about this. For myself, I do a lot of reflection as to moments that I've been lost in time, that I don't look at my watch, I'm not looking at how much time has passed. I go back to moments of my childhood, what I loved to do when I wasn't in school. So I used to love to just create and just take a piece of chalk. I would go to the driveway and I would draw out an entire city. And I would spend hours drawing this damn thing out before I even took my bike to ride through it. My parents were like, it's going to be dark, but I need to finish the post office. I'm almost done. But it's like, it had stop signs and everything. So it's like, hello, set creator and graphic designer. I used to create in my backyard. It would be rocks. I was in Connecticut, and they would just be rocks. And I would create a kitchen set out of it, making mud pies and frisbee. So it was always that creative mindset of what can we create with nothing or with what we have in front of us, and to play. So those are all elements of my childhood that I would be there for hours until it would be pitch black and my mom would be like, come on inside, or I'd be in the water. And I was fortunate to travel as a kid as well. Those experiences, and as you said, Tyler, it is a combination of experiencing things too. You can't sit in your office staring at a computer and emails and Zoom calls with business meetings and expect that you're going to find a passion. I encourage people to read books. Maybe you can't travel right now. Read books. Sign up for online trainings, courses. There's a masterclass. Find different hobbies that you like to do. Journal. When you journal, you get so much verbal diarrhea out. Probably 99% of it is garbage, but there might be 1% that you discover within yourself that you say, maybe that's worth exploring. So there's a lot of different, plays or exercises that you can do to really get clear on the one why. Because once you know your purpose, you wake up excited and you wake up with a different kind of life. You talk about getting drunk off of life. And I think that, all of us deserve that freedom to be able to wake up and say, I'm excited for the day. It's like the last part of this, my friend and I had this conversation. He's like, how have you done so much already in the morning? I haven't even had my coffee. And I was like, because I love what I'm doing. I've been up for a couple hours and I'm ready. I want to jump into the projects. And, we had this interview. So, but it's like, there's things that I love and they fill me up. And that's a good point to bring up too. Become hyper aware of what leaves you feeling alive after, or what leaves you feeling drained. Because there's a lot of people who will drain your energy. There's also a lot of activities that will drain your energy. And part of solid productivity is being aware of that. And if you can, you start to structure your day around that. So what you need the most energy for, doing it, mid-morning is typically better for me. The afternoon is like where emails, comments, stuff like that comes in. So you start to become very aware of yourself. That's a little tail end there that is unrelated, but it's also a useful tip.
Totally. Ian, do you have anything to state about that? I don't want to just keep on taking over the convo. I'd love.
No, I think we've covered everything, haven't we? I mean, just before, yeah, words of wisdom, Sarah, but I think we've got that as well, haven't we?
Absolutely. So Sarah, do you think, excuse me, like one of the final like topics I would like to talk about is that we were just really hitting on like purpose, figuring out your purpose. Do you think one needs to figure out their passions before purpose? Like, do you think passions are necessary to find in order to figure out your purpose, or at least to inspire you to have one?
I believe that's a chicken or egg scenario. I really, I don't have a direct answer. And it's one of those that, you know, my answer's maybe going to piss you off a little bit, but it's like, there's no direct answer because it's maybe not, you know, maybe one comes before the other. I'm not passionate about cancer, but I do think it helped me find my purpose. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Absolutely.
It helped guide me. Maybe that's the best answer I can give is, you know, but I also, before all of that, I love to create, you know, so that's a passion, which now leads to my purpose. So maybe those are two examples that, you know, it's chicken or the egg. One may come, one may not, but there's no direct formula. It's just really the experimentation, and it's everything here. It's a lot of emotional intelligence that unfortunately, many people don't have. Fortunately, you can learn it. You know, aside from the very few who lack empathy for others, again, we'll save the narcissistic conversation for another time, but you can learn emotional intelligence and you can develop that muscle. And it can be one of the greatest tools to success that you can have in today's day and age. Because a book won't teach you empathy, how to read people, self-awareness. It won't teach you any of that. But you have to feel that. I mean, unless the book is on emotional intelligence, then maybe it can. But I'm thinking, I was reading one last night. I said that and I was like, actually, no.
There's a lot of gray area. It's crazy. Plus, you can just Google it too, right?
Yeah.
Like books. So like you see, some people don't believe in reading books because you could easily just Google anything, basically. But yeah, you hit on an interesting topic because like the experiment is like the conflict. So like you got to look at like what you like, which are your passions. In order to figure out purpose, some sort of conflict usually occurs. In your sense, it was cancer, right? And I feel like everyone needs like that catalyst to figure out their purpose. Some sort of conflict which made you make you more self-aware of kind of your purpose in doing things. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you kind of realize when you have something like that, you realize how short life really is, don't you?
Absolutely. So like Ian, in your case, was it like drinking? So like it seems as though, because that made a huge impact on your life, at least from me meeting you, that whenever you stopped drinking, that like changed a lot.
I was quite overweight as a teenager as well, and when I was about 17, 18, I lost like a 4.5 stone, which is 14, 28, 42, 56, 63 pounds in a few months, and that definitely changed me. I became more outgoing and stuff like that, and I was kind of less likely to stand at the back of the crowd, if you know what I mean.
Like a confidence, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of it was a coming of age thing as well, because it was a teenager, you know. But yeah, I think everyone, you have to have something else to kind of teach you what's important and frankly what's not.
Absolutely. You need something to punch you in the face, right? Little stabs and then a realization.
Yeah, I always think the people that I connect deeper with are the ones who have some scars. Because and I think that there's beautiful people out there that do not, you know, and the hardest thing that happened to them is maybe they lost their job, or maybe, you know, they didn't get their coffee in the morning, and that maybe is the worst thing that happens to them. I do believe that you are given everything that you can handle in life, and whether you choose to learn and overcome that becomes your own personal growth journey. And parents are like, you're always going through something. I was like, this is my journey. I'm like, I'm really happy about it. Like, I'm excited. But, you know, I think when you have some scars, you develop a different mindset. And that's where you start to connect on a deeper level with varying people, you know, and that goes back to what we talked about earlier as to who's your tribe, who has your same mindset, because you need to surround yourself by those people. Otherwise, you're just going to be held back in life.
Absolutely. Ian, did you have something to say? Sorry, my computer was glitching.
No, I was just gonna say, I think I hate to always talk about COVID, but I think that's something a lot of people learned this year, isn't it? Is how fragile life really is, you know? You think we're living in this real advanced society, and all of a sudden there's this virus and everything is stopped.
I would hope so. You know, I hope so. I really do. I did a video on this 2 days ago, actually, and I said, my greatest fear has nothing to do with COVID. It's real, of course, and I'm taking the best care of my health that I know how. But my greatest fear is humans, because I don't see that a lot of humans are getting the lesson, and that they're not empowering themselves about their health. They're waiting for this magic vaccine to come out, and that's going to fix something. And my greatest fear is you're missing the lesson behind it, because if you think a vaccine is going to fix and we just go right back to normal, it's like, well, if it was working, this wouldn't have happened. So it looks like we need to evolve and not go back to that, so it doesn't happen again. So that's where, you know, Ian, I truly hope so, but I also have this deeper, not concern, it's like you do you kind of thing, but
You have your doubts.
I have a limiting belief in the human species that we're hardwired for habit. I truly do have the best of hope for everybody that they have elevated those habits, but the optimist in me is also met with the realist, and I know that there's many that aren't going to take that path. So it's really, you know, again, it goes back to the horse and water situation, and the water's there. You're just not going to take it. So
But sometimes it's hard to do that. It's hard to drink it, and not everyone is willing to do it, like we keep on talking about. And it's like, people, I think, are problem solving a lot of this incorrectly. Like you were saying, like looking towards a vaccine that is going to solve everything, but in reality, not in the slightest bit. From even a science standpoint, plus just in general, people, that doesn't just make you healthier. It doesn't just change your immune system, doesn't change your physical health. So if you are currently obese, not mentally healthy right now, you take a vaccine, that doesn't mean, you know, all your fear goes away, like, or anything like of that sort, or even save you from COVID. I don't want to get too much into that, but that doesn't just magically create a better, healthier world.
My favorite was when people thought, oh, when 2021 things will be better, and it's like all of a sudden when the clock strikes midnight, suddenly everything just the world is great again, and you know.
And I think
Tyler saw my post, and I wrote the same exact thing. I was like, so my real question is, what happens January 2nd when you realize everything's still the same?
Yeah.
Totally. And it's like we look for people for the solutions instead of ourselves. I know we've kind of already hit on that, but like for government stuff specifically, like we look towards them for money, you know, to save us, but in reality, it's us that are actually in control, or at least are supposed to be. And that could go down many different avenues, but I think that's like the point of what people have missed a lot, Sarah, is that you are in charge, you know. You can create everything that you want to create. You can make yourself healthier if you decide to, but it's all like simple common themes. It's really not rocket science, but it's hard to do. Like I didn't magically think this way, but like I forced myself, like I put myself in the position to be self-aware and at least try. And I hope people continuously do that, but it'll be interesting to see how it all goes down.
You brought up a really powerful, you hinted around it, but I think you said it, how we have to empower ourselves. And the other page that I work from, and it actually gives some quotes from the book that I wrote and what I'll be doing, what I speak on, and it's on living cancer free. And one of the cancers is exactly what you're saying, Tyler, how we just say like, give me money, help me. And it's about empowering yourself to remove those cancers, be it, you know, the job that you don't like, or, you know, a real cancer or a toxic relationship. And the opening line that I have in the bio is be your own hero. At the end of the day, stop looking for other people to save you and go and save yourself. Then the world is limitless. You can do anything the minute that you decide that you can save yourself.
Absolutely. Ian, do you have something to say?
No, I love that. Joe Rogan has something similar, and I absolutely live by it. he says, "Be the hero of your own story."
Yeah, I love that.
And you
I
said
love
like
that.
imagine like people recording you. You know,
Yeah,
like
that's the
you're
other
in your
thing. He
own
has the
movie.
documentary. If there's a
Yeah.
documentary crew following you, yeah.
Which is
That
very
is it. Oh,
interesting.
yep. Spoiler alert! That's going to be the third
Jesus.
in the trilogy. It's called the Heroine. The first part I want to do is around the white stallion, which has to do with my first husband, and then the second is the dark tale, and then the third is the heroine, like meaning me because I'm a female, of course. But yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess out of all these value bombs that we just, threw out to the world, can you give maybe like a 1 sentence, 2 sentence of just with our for our listeners of just some value bombs going into 2021 to kind of conclude this great convo that we just had?
My meditation that I say in the morning of what I want to do in the world is to inspire others to be healthy, to live out their passion, to be authentically themselves, and to never settle. And I think I'll end on that last one, to never settle. It's actually what I had engraved in this ring that I have on my middle finger. So if you're listening, it's on my middle finger. And it says never settle, because it is your one life. You are the only limitation that you have surrounding you. Because the minute that you start to see all the doors in your house that you have, you can begin to open them one by one by one. And maybe one of them sucks and you want to close it. That's okay too. But you will find another door or create it. That's the creator part of it. You can always demolish a hole in the middle and create another door for yourself. But never settle for something less just because you think that you cannot. Ask the why not, start asking why not. There's a lot of people who will challenge you and say, well, why? And I was like, why not? So never settle.
Couldn't agree more. Beautiful. What a way to conclude it. So also, could you just let people know where they can find you, et cetera, kind of summarize, what people can look for from Sara Quiriconi in 2021, and then we'll just bring this to an end.
The marketer in me makes it very easy. Live Free Warrior. That'll be across my main channels are Instagram, YouTube. You can find me on my website as well. Live Free Warrior will take you there. If you're interested in the 28-day Renew program, that information is all up on my Instagram bio and also on my website. I post at least 2 videos a week over on YouTube. That's a lot of fitness, well-being, empowerment, hopefully soon some more travel too, but I'm also really connected over on Instagram mainly.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, hey, it was a pleasure talking to you as always. I'm so grateful to have met you, and this was a great convo.
You are a light, and I think for both of you, the world needs more of this kind of information and empowerment, and especially, I won't age myself, but from a younger generation. Because it's necessary. And a lot of people who reach out to me are of a younger age and they call me their older sister. So I take that with great passion and heart because I think we need to make the voice louder. So thank you for spreading this message, for what you're doing, both of you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sarah, lovely to meet you. Thanks for joining us.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Cheers.